Welcome to another month in romance video. So today I want to talk about some tropes that I love. I just figure, some more positivity out there. I'm sure a lot of these, if you've watched my videos in the past, will not come as much of a surprise because I'm pretty open about what I love. I have done a ton of videos on tropes, some better than others, and I have a tropes playlist, which I will link below if you want to check it out. So yeah, but first let's talk about what a trope is. So a trope is a common or overused theme or device. Hi, Murphy. To me, I often think of it as part of like a high concept definition of a story or a book. And they're incredibly common in romance. Like, I don't know if there is a romance that doesn't feature a trope or isn't trying to like subvert tropes. And really the only way to like subvert a trope is to have a trope and then play with it, in my opinion. And some people look at them as negative. They see them as formulaic or cliche or, I don't know, just bad. But I love them, and I love that. Sorry, I just got like stepped on by a nail. They help me easily identify if a book is going to work for me, and especially if it's like an author I've never read or it's something different for me. Maybe it's a different genre. Examples of tropes in general are things like a love triangle, enemies to lovers is super common, second chance romance or reunited lovers, typically the same thing, accidental pregnancy. I'll link to an author's website that I think is really helpful and has a crap ton of tropes on it. She like references which books of hers are in those tropes, but I think she does a good job of like quickly explaining what the tropes are. So let's talk about what some of my favorites are. So of course, second chance romance. I love a second chance reunited lovers story. It is one of my favorite things to read. Although I will say lately I've been really into like where it's not a relationship that fell apart, but it was like the second chance is them changing from friends to lovers. So it's kind of like second chance with friends to lovers. I'm really enjoying that. Another one is enemies to lovers, but I think I need to like reevaluate this. I saw something on Twitter recently that I feel like helped me narrow down my love of this trope. So I've always said I like enemies to lovers, but I don't like it to be super angsty or dark or cruel. And I've heard some people say like, well, that's not enemies to lovers. And I'm like, oh, and then there was this like picture. I wish I could remember. I'll try and find it, and if I can, I'll link the tweet, but I don't know if I'll even like where to even go to begin looking, because it wasn't like somebody I followed. It just showed up in my timeline, and I don't think I like tweeted it or anything. So, but it was basically like talking about different things, and one of them was enemies to lovers. And then there was rivals to lovers, and I was like, shit, that's what I like. So there's not, and I'm like thinking about all these books that I like, and it's more of that. So like The Hating Game, I think that's rivals to lovers. Rose and Connor Cobalt, like Rose Calloway and Connor Cobalt, but whatever, they get married. They're rivals. Like, so many of these books, they're really rivals. They're not enemies, and I think that is the difference. And with the rivalry is where you a lot of times get like the angsty banter, which is what I live for. So I think that's what I like. And I'm not like 100% sure on the difference, but I think that's the better definition for what I enjoy. Another one I really like is Marriage of Convenience, especially in historicals. In contemporaries, I tend to find it to be very like false and just like an unnecessary storyline. I think because it's easier to just like not get married, especially for women in contemporary times, versus historically, like you didn't have a ton of options. And so it makes more sense logically to me then. like, I'm not a big fan of like the will forcing you to get married thing. Like, that's not legal, so no. But I do like marriage of convenience story. Another one is return to like a hometown, especially if it's a small town romance. I also love small town romance. I'm a sucker for those like Hallmark movies where like a girl, it's usually a girl, who's like left home to like go live her life, and now she's back and she realizes things were great back home. I eat that shit up. I really do. I'm the reason Hallmark movies exist. People like me. I'm sorry. And yeah, I just love small town romance. They tend to have like really good found families and good like interactions and good side characters. And like, I've always kind of wanted to live in like a small town. I'm not saying that they're perfect. I know that like no place is perfect. Like, you can live in a city or you can live in a rural area. They all have their pluses and minuses. I just think it would be fun. Next is a tortured hero or heroine or whatever. I tend to lean more towards tortured, and for me, I don't necessarily mean, I'm still struggling with how to like explain this, because for me, I don't necessarily like a jerk. Occasionally it works for me. I'm looking at you, Lauren Hale. I live for that Slytherin and Hufflepuff relationship. But I like like somebody who's been scarred. Maybe they've lost a limb. Maybe they don't look like stereotypically beautiful anymore and they have to deal with that shit. I love that. I love like the emotional dynamic that's usually involved. Yeah, I'm really into that. And I think I said this before. I'm not sure what that says about me as a person, but I really like it. And then the last one is Virgin Hero. I love it just because I think it's not super common. So I think I like the novelty of it. And I just like playing with people's expectations about virginity and sexuality. So I think that's an interesting character type. But yeah, so those are just some of my favorite tropes. And if you want to let me know what some of your favorites are, do you hate them? Do you love them? Do you hate some of the ones I love? Do you like love some that I probably hate? I'm not going to say which ones I hate. Maybe I'll do a video on that at some point, but try not to be negative, and I feel like that's negative. I don't know. But you're allowed to love whatever you want. So yeah, those are just some of, ooh, make a noise. So those are some of the tropes that I love. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow with another video. Bye.